Around 8:15, I received a call on my cell phone from the selection committee of the Capital One Bowl, Orlando, January the 2nd, I think 12:30 or 1 o'clock game, not sure. But they have invited us to play in the Capital One Bowl against Nebraska. So we certainly accepted, and we're excited to be going to this bowl. A lot of teams and coaches and players think this is one of the best bowl trips in the country as far as opportunity to go to Disney World and all the attractions in the Orlando area. So we'll look forward to it, and of course our team has a lot to play for. We may have as much to play for as maybe any team in the country going to a bowl game, with the exception of maybe the national championship game. And that's the opportunity to have the best record in school history here, going for 11th win. We know it won't be easy, it'll be difficult to beat a very good, tough Nebraska team, always has been. And but we'll look forward to the challenge, look forward to going to Orlando and participating in the Capital One Bowl.
Questions?
Okay.
Steve, have you seen any of Nebraska this year? Do you know Bo Pelini? Have you guys crossed paths in any way?
Not too much. No, not too much. Yeah, I know he and Bobby Stoops are good friends. In fact, he worked for Bobby there several years back, before I think he went to LSU and so forth, and then he got the head job at Nebraska. But I've said a couple of times, they were one of the unluckiest teams in the country. They really easily could have won 2 Big 12 championships. Last year in the championship game, Oklahoma came from behind, barely beat them. And of course, the year before, they had Texas beat. Remember, Colt McCoy threw the ball out of bounds, and they came back and put a second or two on the clock, and Texas made the field goal to beat them. So they're a tough bunch, and we all know the history of Nebraska football, one of the really super tradition universities for college football in the nation. And they will come to play. We know that. Big test for our guys. They're a lot more of a running team than they are a passing team, and so defensively it'll be a big challenge for our guys to really face a little bit different style of offense.
Coach, I think we're all in this room familiar with your comment about UT and citrus, and on a lighter note, I think I just wanted to mention, I thought about it on the way here. You also can't spell citrus without USC, so is that a good thing at this point?
Very nice. Very nice to be down there. Carol Monroe, who works with the Capital One Bowl, I think has been working with them for 20, 25 years, I'm not sure. She's always said she'd hope to get us down there someday, get South Carolina Gamecocks in that bowl game. So we're excited to be there. We know our guys have played well this year, proud of our team. I think the biggest thing we've done down the stretch and throughout the last half of the year is that we did not beat ourselves. We didn't have any of those real bad plays that you see these other teams have, and so forth. So anyway, we're looking forward to going down there and competing. I know we haven't played very well in some bowl games the last 2-3 years, but every team's different, and I really believe this team will play well.
You always talk about achieving things for the first time. Looks like USC for the first time finished top 10 in the BCS standings at the end of the season. Is that another step in your mind for progress for this program?
Yeah, I hope we can claim that one. I know finishing in the top 10 was one of the goals our guys set at the beginning of the season. I think there's another vote after the bowl games, so we'll still have to wait on that one. But as far as the regular season finishing in the top 10, that's I guess that's something we can brag about and talk about that one, though. But that is pretty neat.
Many people consider this bowl game to be the biggest non-BCS game. Just talk a little bit about the platform that this game puts y'all on and what kind of momentum it can lead for next year.
I don't know about momentum and all that. Sometimes you can win a bowl game and not do very well the next year, lose one and do pretty well. I think the biggest thing for us is it is an opportunity to play in a prestigious bowl. I think the payout's the largest after the BCS games. So it's ranked right there with one of the very best bowls in the country, certainly. But we got a lot to play for, going for that 11th win and being a shot at being the winningest team in school history. So we're just looking forward to regrouping after a couple of weeks, guys taking final exams and so forth, trying to get a good solid game plan and go playing our best, and then whatever happens down there.
You mentioned the recent history in bowl games. Will you juggle your schedule? Will you do anything different administratively to shake things up at all, or you just hope the makeup of this team is different?
We hope the senior leadership on this team's a little bit different, and the makeup of the team is a little different. But we have no excuses. We just got our tails beat the last 3 bowl games, and we're going to try not to get beat this time. And we'll try to balance it the right way, and hopefully our players, coaches, we all know the importance of this game.
Coach, I won't ask you to toot your own horn by any means, but of course with Marcus going down halfway through, Stephen leaving the program even before halfway through, is this something that you consider one of your better, I guess, adjustments coaching wise with a team that really looks a lot different than it did when the year began?
Well, that's for other people to decide how a coach does. It's always interesting. Us coaches, we all emphasize every game, and I can assure you, I emphasize the Citadel game the same as the Florida and the Clemson game. I mean, every week you got a chance to win or lose, and so you always do that. And then at the end of the year, you look back and see how you did. And if you win a whole bunch of them, people say, "Man, that coach did a real good job this year." And really, you do about the same job every year, but the players you have make the difference in the one-loss record. So we've got a good bunch of players. I wish we could cover kickoffs better. That's our nemesis right there. So we're going to work on that for about a month before we head down to Orlando. Our guys have played pretty steady, solid, without crucial bad plays, and that's, I think, has been a big reason we've won 10 games thus far.
As a follow-up for the bowl routine, have you decided what day you're going to start bowl practice? I know typically you always wait after finals.
Yeah, we meet up a little bit this Friday and work out a little bit. You can't practice a whole month for one game, so you try to balance it out a little bit, let the young guys practice a little bit more, maybe the older guys. But we try to practice about 2 weeks, good solid 2 weeks, and then really after you get down there, hopefully the guys will be a little bit focused in and looking forward to the ball game. I think it's going to be on a Monday. Is that correct? Since January 1st is on a Sunday, so Monday is January the 2nd, which will be the day of the ball.
Steve, what do you think about the rematch in the national title game with Alabama and LSU, considering your involvement in a rematch, back in your national title year?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. I did vote for Alabama second, and but it was there was some reason to vote for Oklahoma State. There really was. I thought to me, I could understand some people voting for Oklahoma State, mainly because the game they lost, and not many people brought this up, but the field goal they attempted right at the end of the game against Iowa State, it went right over the pole. They showed it on the replay during the game last night, Oklahoma State, and they got a referee right underneath it, and he calls it one way or the other, but it was right over the pole. Looking at it, you'd say, well, he could have called it good or he could have called it bad. I don't even know the exact rule. Do y'all know the exact rule if it goes right over the top of the pole? I know in baseball, if you hit it down the left field, right field line, if it's any part of the chalk, it's fair. But if it goes over the top of the pole, is it good or bad? Do you know? Scott, you're pretty good at that, aren't you?
I think it's considered good, but.
Well, that's what I would think. And you would think, how they put that yellow laser first down or not on the fields? Why couldn't they laser that thing up to the sky and do the replay to whether or not the ball caught a piece of it or not? They have replay in tennis, so whether or not it hits the line or not, we've seen all that. So that amazingly, maybe came down to this, whether Oklahoma State had a shot to LSU or not. Because if they go 13-0, they're definitely in the game, and that was one play that cost them. But as far as rematches, if they're the two best teams, certainly you know, that's the way we do it. So there's no big deal, just trying to find the two best teams and let them go at it.
Alshon and Terrence, any reason to think, any updates on them?
No updates, no updates. Again, we encourage all of our third-year players to do the evaluation with the NFL, get your projected draft status, and make a good, logical decision. All the statistics say if you're not a first-round pick, you should stay and play your fourth year of college ball. So we'll have to see where their projections are and what they decide to do. But I'm all for what's best for our players, and we've got several I think that will do the NFL evaluation. Injuries?
Yeah, Alshon's hand, Terrence's leg.
Alshon should be back, and Terrence should be back.
Still.
And Ronald Patrick, yeah, all of our guys with some little nicks and so forth should be back in a couple of weeks.
Coach Pelini is known well for his defense. Obviously, I believe he coordinated over at LSU at one time, maybe Oklahoma as well. How much do you know about Coach Pelini? Do you have a relationship with him personally? And
I don't know him
how much do you know
well.
about Nebraska in general at this point?
Just what I've seen on tape and seen some of their games. They played some early 12 o'clock games, so when we're playing later, I've watched a few of those. But they're a tough physical team, outstanding defense. Their quarterback, it appears he's a little bit more of a runner than a passer. Of course, some people thought Connor was more of a runner than passer, but actually the last 3 games, I looked at his statistics. He's actually 30 of 38, 6 touchdown passes, and only 1 pick. So he's gotten better throwing it. We've gotten better throwing it the last couple of games. So hopefully that will continue on.
Steve, you said you voted Alabama second, but there were reasons to vote Oklahoma State. What were the reasons you voted Alabama second?
Well, I think they probably are the best team, and they're in our conference. There's plenty of reasons there. The other side, like I said, the field goal at Oklahoma State. If they make that, I guess they would have. You know, if they'd been called good, I guess they would have been the logical second pick, just because of that, maybe. Yeah.
I know sometimes you send congratulatory texts or give a call to other coaches that win championships. Any thoughts on the ACC championship, the article?
I congratulate every team that won it yesterday. And it's always interesting that, heck, nobody picked Clemson, and they clobbered Virginia Tech. And it was, they just outplayed them. You got to give their coaches, players credit for regrouping and playing maybe their best game of the year. And then all of a sudden, Oklahoma State, gosh, Oklahoma preseason #1. They just didn't have it at all yesterday. And UCLA gave Oregon a pretty good tussle. And of course, Houston got beat by Southern Miss. Southern Miss is a very good team. They could be in a BCS game. I agree with their coach on that. They very well could be. And of course, the Wisconsin-Michigan State game, that was probably the best game of all of them. And it's a shame had that roughing the punter. That took away the big return there at the end of the game for Michigan State. But Wisconsin, very, very strong team also. So other than that, I guess the Big East was the one that had all the confusion there. But I guess West Virginia is the champ now. Is that correct? I guess.
I think so, yeah.
They were the highest rated. So, yeah, some years you have to sort of go undefeated to win it, and some years you can lose 3 games, which we did last year. We lost 3 and won the division. This year we lose 2 and we don't win the division, but that's the way it goes sometimes. But yeah, a lot of good play and a lot of sorry play yesterday in those championship games.
Coach, I know Florida's a fertile recruiting area for you. I know maybe it doesn't make a difference much this year, but as far as just establishing presence and visibility down there, what is it?
Well, we've had a little presence down there, not like Florida and Florida State and the other schools, but we're getting a little bit more spread out all over the South. We don't really want to travel too far away from Columbia, but the border states and Florida are where we need to stick to. There's plenty of ball players, and it's important to get good players, of course, and then after you get them, you got to train them to play well, and hopefully get players with wonderful attitudes that they want to improve all the time. So it may help a little bit down there.
Steve, was that Fiesta Bowl in '95 or '96 the last time you played Nebraska?
Yep, that's the last and only time. And we got clobbered by Nebraska in the '95 game, if any of y'all still remember. Both teams, we went out there 12-0 because we had the SEC game, which was, I think, that was the only undefeated regular season Florida's ever had, that '95 team. And because we lost the national championship team, nobody hardly talks about that '95 team down there in Florida. They just, another team won the conference championship, but that was really one of the best teams of all that we had through the years down there, I think. But anyway, Nebraska, I talked with Coach Tom Osborne later at a function, and I asked him to compare that team with so many great ones that he had, if it was the best or not, and he wouldn't answer. He said, I can't put a tag on it, but I'll tell you one thing, that's the only team I ever had that never had a close game. They clobbered everybody all year long. He says, the only team I ever had, never had a close game. And Tommy Frazier was their quarterback, and they had super defense, tough guys, and it was, I think we got beat by 62-24. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Did you guys play bad that day, or were they just that good? Was that one of the best teams you can
We didn't
remember?
play our best, but they beat us. They had good plan. I think they ran for about 400 or 500 yards on us, and we thought we had a pretty good run defense. But that was we ran into one of the best teams in probably college football history that night.
Anything else for Coach?
Okay, we'll get some of our players in. You all go ahead.
Just one quick.
Okay.
Just the importance of getting those extra 20 days or so of practice for the freshmen and the guys who aren't playing that much.
Yeah, I think it helps a little bit. I don't believe like some coaches it's like another spring practice. I don't think you can hit all that much this time of year. The players, they like to practice. I don't know how much hitting when they're not going to play for 6-8 months, something like that. Can be a lot of fun to them. But we always have good practices for the bowl game, and I think we'll have. I think with everything on the line for us, we'll be ready to play the best we can. And I see one of our captains, Travian Robertson's here tonight, and Connor's over there also. So we'll let them guys say a few words. Okay. All right. Thanks.